Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 271. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, joined here as always, except when he's not, by BT Calloway.
Oh, you wee fucking numpty.
Pardon? All right, sorry, this episode does not come with subtitles.
If only.
And David Molloy.
Yo.
And Nathan Harrison.
Hello.
I already feel like I've let the team down not jumping in on the Scottish gag, actually.
I didn't. Did you think that I did?
What are you even saying right now?
I just think you continued my failure.
A weird time to discover that I have a Scottish accent.
It has a lot
we did study the Scottish accent
true.
together, Nathan.
It's true.
It has a lot of crossover with Klingon. A lot of...
I didn't realise that the other reason I got you on, you guys studied Scottish accents?
Oh, yes, we're
Yeah, a
masters.
3-year course, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
Just on Scottish.
I just
They
got
wouldn't
drunk
move us on.
there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that's also effective
helps.
study.
We did study the Scottish accent and then do a play that had us speaking in the Northern Irish accent, which
Oh,
is,
yeah.
Oh,
you
shit.
may have heard, not the Scottish accent.
Different.
Well, yeah, for me anyway, I grew up with my, half Irish family, and because of that, I've always really, really sucked at doing a Scottish accent. It really let down all my Shrek impressions throughout the years. But I bring you gentlemen here today for this episode, A Bonny Romance, where the Simpsons go to Edinburgh. And yeah, all of you have been to Edinburgh Fringe, which,
Yes.
when I was doing my initial research for this episode, going over, I was like, oh my God.
It's real.
There is such a place and thing.
Yeah. They're
yeah.
not just doing an inflatable castle at Adelaide.
Yeah, the Edinburgh Fringe one-man show down at the Adelaide Fringe, yeah.
I mean, I'd believe it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's something that I haven't experienced. And when I was going through the research, I'm like, oh, cool, they do a bit of the Fringe. And turns out in the course of the episode, not much of it.
Not
Yep.
so much.
But
Have you
Enough.
been
I enjoyed the
to
riff.
Scotland at all?
No, I haven't. I haven't
Okay.
actually done any England, Scotland, United Kingdom, Ireland, any of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for you guys starting out beach, what was your Edinburgh experience?
I lived there for about 6 months when I
Yeah.
was still young enough to drink and be cool with it. So... Yeah, look, the Scottish accent for me always launches from, because I was, naturally working in a biscuit factory, and there was a, old Scottish woman, funnily enough, who worked there, and I always remember when she was like, so where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Australia. She's like, Australia? Why the fuck did you come here? Like, did you know Ken it was cold? I'd be fucking anywhere but here. Australia, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Sorry, I don't know if I missed the trick there. You worked in a biscuit factory?
Yeah. Naturally.
Is that a euphemism for...
No, for a
He
factory.
was he
Yeah,
dealt heroin.
yeah,
Look, I mean,
Scottish
look,
slang.
if I don't like to talk about the fact that I'm in the inspiration for train spotting, but
But yeah, as part of that as well, working there, you did Fringe as well.
yeah, of course. My sister loved the hell out of the Fringe because she'd been before, and so we were both there and just went up and down the Royal Mile, going to every show we possibly could, and it was fab.
I wonder
Yeah.
as well, though, if you'd lived there for 6 months, does that qualify you to consider yourself a local, and do you therefore hate the Edinburgh
Look,
Fringe?
there was a moment where I said my first natural I.
Oh, wow.
Because I was
Aye,
walking, one of the last days I was there, I was walking, back to where I was staying, and this guy walked up and said, "Oh, do you know Ken with a man could go off and do something off his ass and him?" And I was like, you go down that one to the left. And actually just naturally came out of my face like that. I'm like, oh, nice.
And how about you, Molloy?
Yeah, so I went to Edinburgh. So I was studying in Norwich in England for about 6 months. And then I went up to Edinburgh just on a visit, sort of went there for a night, and it was snowing and raining at the same time, simultaneously, which I didn't think was physically possible, but apparently in Edinburgh it is.
Wow, the old woman at the biscuit factory was onto something.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Look, the wisdom of old women at biscuit factories is
Never to be
unparalleled.
questioned. Yeah. And then later that year, I ended up working at the as part of the press team for one of the venues there, which is called the Pleasance. You sort of have your big three in the Edinburgh Fringe, which is the Assemblies, Underbelly, and Pleasance. So yeah, I was working there, which meant I was essentially pulling 16-hour shifts and then drinking and seeing a show and drinking and seeing a show and drinking and seeing a show and then maybe sleeping for 2 hours and repeating.
Oh, wow. Optional sleep.
For a month straight. It was fucking intense, but I saw a lot of like really, really amazing stuff there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't really prefaced that with anything. So the Edinburgh Fringe, just to give someone who hadn't heard of it before, it's like a 25-day, like month-long festival of art and culture and lots of stand-up and theatre shows and all that.
I would expect there's probably people who like don't know much details or specifics about it, but like certainly almost everyone's heard of it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's basically like the biggest fringe festival in the world, but it coincides with like several of the like major national festivals in Scotland. So it's basically just like, you know, a month of 3 different festivals going on at once. So you also have like, you know, the military tattoo with the fireworks and the big marches and all this stuff going on. It's like...
It's just ludicrously busy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just
like,
so many people.
Which is why literally every local like just moves out for the month of August. They just rent their house out. Yeah.
Quiet days at the biscuit factory.
Yeah. How about you, Nate?
So in 2012, some friends and I, as a group called Applespiel, took a show over there. There were 7 of us, and we all went over to Edinburgh because we hated having money.
Yeah.
And we did a show. We did 26 shows in 27 days.
Holy fuck.
Right.
It was an interactive show, which is not a good thing to take to Edinburgh. We just didn't know what we were doing. I think as well, even before we got there, we were kind of all done with the show and no one really wanted to show it. And like people were having breakups with their partners back home during that month.
Oh, I
People
forgot
got really
about that.
sick. Someone got a tooth pulled. Yeah, the show we took kind of needed like 10 audience members to work. And I'd say for the first half of this, like the first 2 weeks, we probably averaged 5.
Oh, good.
It was grim. The worst one, we had 2 people in the audience. One left halfway through, really apologetic. I think they were like, I've just got to go to something else. And the person who stayed was a reviewer.
I really thought the reviewer was the one that left, actually.
No, they had a professional, something.
And you were at C venues?
Yeah,
Was
we were
that-
not at one of the big 3 venues you mentioned.
Which I didn't intend to be the slam, but like...
No, it was very appropriate. And it's like, because you have to flyer every day. You have to go out and like, drum up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's
And
so
particularly,
demoralizing.
Because C venues has like a lot of shows going on, so
Yeah.
there's
we were
a lot
at
of
noon.
competition.
It was just...
There's a lot of competition, and they're all at roughly like the same level that you are, essentially. So like everyone else is flying for those shows and really having to push
was
them
gonna say,
because
'cause-
so much attention. Yeah.
There was a game my sister and I would play of how if you could walk from one end of the Royal Mile, which is like the main street where most of this is happening, to the other, getting as few brochures as possible. Like, yeah, if someone offered, you had to say yes. And so I think my record was 3. I learned stealth in Edinburgh.
Yeah. That's not enough just to avert the gaze. So.
No. Oh, they are odd because everyone is pushing everything. And,
Yeah.
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 And every day we were like, oh, we had some, and like most of the group, I think, was just demoralized. They're like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a few of us like, we have to do
You have to,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd go out and you'd chat to people like for 4 hours straight and hand out heaps of postcards and go back. You're like, I think, I had some good chats. I think they're going to come tomorrow. No one comes.
Nah.
But I
And
mean,
let's do an energetic, interactive show off the back of that for it. Yeah.
After already doing an energetic interactive show to promote your energetic interactive
like
show.
to sort of like couch this as well. Like I'd seen the show when it was in Australia. It was a very fun show. Like it was a lot of fun. Like when you had the audience to interact with it. So
No, I mean, I've heard that. Like, a lot of, like, especially, like, local stand-ups whose podcasts I listen to, like, who kill and get, like, 50, 100 people in a room in Australia, struggle in the fringe.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
my
and the
God.
other thing is, like, as a stand-up, you don't get this as much in the theatre side, fortunately, but, like, as a stand-up, you're then also exposed to Scottish audiences, and they will fucking, like, savage you.
Yeah,
without remorse, without regret. Like, they will destroy you.
Yeah, they'll stand up. Why the fuck are you here? Did you know Kenna was cold? No, the other thing, if you find yourself there, go to some weird shit. Just
Yeah.
buy a ticket, take the ride. Why
Yeah,
not?
the weird shit was the winner, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, any stand out in the memories for you guys of
Too
weird
many.
shit
Yeah.
you were glad to see?
Well, I mean, Daniel Kitson is the first time I saw him
Oh,
there.
wow.
That was
Nice, yeah.
awesome. Stories for the Wobbly Hearted, which is like the first show we saw of his, and that was awesome. What else? Mick Savage, I don't know if he's still doing, but he was great. A few other bits and pieces that I've not thought about for 20 odd years.
Yeah. How about you guys?
We saw a comedy show by a guy that you know.
Yeah, that's
Jez?
right. Joz Norris.
Joz Norris.
Like who I met at uni, and then you like apropos of nothing saw at
We
Edinburgh.
just like we were sitting in the park just like having lunch or something, and he walked past and we laughed at his shirt, and he came over and told us to go to his show, and we're like, all right.
And he's a
then it
lovely
was so
boy.
fun. I think we went twice. It was that good.
Amazing.
Yeah. Every time someone came in late, he would yell out, "Come in and know me better, man," said the ghost of Christmas present, fatly. It was a very good joke.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's a very, very funny man. He's on Instagram. You can follow him there. He's very, very good.
Oh, excellent.
Joz Norris.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is very fortuitous timing because, Fringe is going on at the moment.
But
So.
fuck my recommendations, huh?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, well, actually, no. Now that you've brought it up, because Fringe is going on at the moment, on the off chance that you are in Edinburgh and listening to this podcast, you should go and see Party Girl, because some friends of mine have a show that they're touring there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
as Nathan has mentioned, it is like incredibly challenging
hard
to
work.
tour
Yeah.
a show that far across the planet at the biggest Fringe festival in the world. So go and see them. Party Girl. It's
Yeah,
very good.
Especially when you must have so much competition and stuff like that.
100%. 100%.
Just unbelievable. There's just so much. And
There's
just
so
the
much
city
content.
is just so busy.
Yep.
All the
And it's
time.
not a big city to be that busy.
No. And when was it? Was it last year or a year before that there was also a garbageman strike going on at the same
shit.
time? So,
They timed that.
They-
yeah.
What,
That-
heaps of shows didn't turn up? Or, I don't know.
Nice. but knowing the Scottish, 100% they planned that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Like, oh, you think you don't need us?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So like, I had the benefit of like working at a venue that was known for its comedians. So I met a lot of really cool comedians. He wasn't at our venue, but I ran into Danny Boy at a cafe, and he was
Nice.
very nice.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, I saw a show by a clever little up and coming comedian called Greg Davis, which I genuinely, I'm not kidding. It was sitting in the front row and fell out of my seat laughing, like could not breathe laughing. Like it was incredible. Bo Burnham was doing words at our venue. I thought he was an arrogant little snot. Turns out he was just anxious. I also saw like Taskmaster back when that was just an
wow.
Alex Horn venture live.
Yeah, right.
And Mike Wozniak was on that being like hilarious, very, very, very funny. I saw a Stuart Lee, what would you call it? Like celebration of his time in comedy with Josie Long and Franz Ferdinand playing and
Oh, my God.
it was crazy. I also saw Stuart at a gala where someone yelled out the punchline to one of his jokes, and he went, "Oh, great, you know the bit. Okay, I guess we'll just play it out in the theater of the mind." And he stood there for fucking 3 minutes.
He would.
Complete silence, just looking at different members of the audience to just like it was
Damn.
incredible. Like I saw so much good there. Like there was a show at our venue which was a London theatre company doing Ovid's Metamorphoses with a World War I aesthetic. And so I was like, well, that sounds like hot buttered garbage. Like, I'm not going to go see that. But because I was in the press team, I had to. It was one of the best theatre shows I've ever fucking seen.
See the weird shit.
Yeah, and they ended up winning like Best of the Fringe and like their show getting toured internationally. And it was like, yeah, there was lots of really, really cool stuff there.
Oh, amazing. Well, I mean, if there's any listeners in the Scottish area or United Kingdom, let us know and what's good for Fringe. So let's hook into this episode today, which, again, very, very briefly deals with the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
So briefly.
We've just eaten a lot of rum time, so it's fine.
Yeah.
They spend less time on the Fringe than they do on TikTok.
Oh, and on the ending song, but we'll get to that.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
why I
God,
brought
no.
up the Stuart Lee thing.
Yeah.
And so just before we get, is this current season? Are we?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. So
Cool.
so how long ago?
So this was season 35, episode 8. So this would have come out last year. It's in my show notes. A Bonny Romance, first released in December of 2023.
Right. Okay.
So season 35 is the one that just wrapped up, and we're heading into season 36 in a few weeks, I think.
It's weird because people keep saying that the current Simpsons are good. Interesting.
We've got our thoughts
interesting,
and
isn't it?
feelings on that subject.
Our thoughts on that are very well established.
Yeah, but essentially they're back to season 15, 16 levels of good. which
So they
Which
are
I'm
trying
grateful
again.
to not
Yes.
have a comparison point for.
Comparison point. We got a whole spreadsheet.
Well, actually, just quickly, Well, just quickly on that, we do ask our returning guests: have you been keeping up with the show since the last time you were on the Index? Old or new Simpsons at all?
Yep.
I mean, I still watch old Simpsons like pretty regularly. Just whenever
Really?
I'm like, oh, I haven't watched this episode for
Just like pop it on streaming?
yeah, just like a couple of eps whenever I think of something or whenever something happens that I saw my friend play ice hockey. I was like, well, I'm gonna go home and watch this on ice.
Your friend in the Olympics right now?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
There's an episode about that.
He's done very well for himself.
He pretend he doesn't know me, but it's fine.
Like
but
he did in Edinburgh.
I've meant to watch newer Simpsons because the discourse says
Yeah.
that it's back on track, but I've just not made an effort to.
Well, to find the episodes which we recommend, go check out the spreadsheet at thesimpsonsindex.com. Plug. So the other things that I mentioned when doing the synopses is A Bonny Romance, directed by Matthew Nastuck, written by Michael Price. In this episode, Bart and groundskeeper Willie strike up a little bit of a friendship, but groundskeeper Willie finds himself in Edinburgh. What? So the Simpsons go to Edinburgh to see what's up, but turns out he's getting married to his old flame. But there's trouble afoot when his family have got a nefarious plot or something. And in the B-ish story...
This really actually sounds like an insight into the writer's room.
The whole riff on Destination Weddings was like someone's pissed about something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and in the B story, Marge and Homer get invited to a destination wedding. Homer really puts up a lot of complaints about doing that, but they end up going to Scotland and spending their miles that they were going to use to go to the destination wedding. But turns out groundskeeper Willie's getting married, so they are going to destination wedding. And also, in the very, very small C story, Lisa goes to Fringe. Hey, guys, what do we think?
It's unrelatable
all right.
because, like, as an Australian, every destination wedding is Cooter Beach. Like,
Yeah, why would you go to Scotland when Bali's right there?
This was a bit of a roughie.
Sure was.
Like, a lot of the time it felt mean. It felt really mean to Marge.
sure.
And not in a way that was particularly funny. But then things just like the rhythm of it felt so off and it kept telling us things were important that it had spent no time on. Like, I don't feel like we got to see Bart and Willie develop
No.
a friendship.
yeah,
No.
totally.
And then the
Except in
second half
montage.
and then the second half of the episode is Bart being
It-
like,
it
"This is my
pivots
best
on
friend.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
how dare you betray me?" And I don't.
And there's not even like, there's opportunity for a gag at Millhouse's expense there. And it's like things that feel like gimmies and they're just sort of breezing past it for the sake of like spending more time on the fucking Belle and Sebastian song.
Special guest stars for this
Yep.
episode. Belle and Sebastian were in this
At the
one.
very least, let's say the economy of this one is badly spent.
Yeah, that's it, because that's one thing we've noticed with the new seasons is that whereas in the 20s they used to spend a lot of time on couch gags, now they breeze past the intro, just do
Yeah.
the Simpsons.
It's like they cut off, it's like no.
Yeah, we gotta get
Move
into
on.
this thing.
Another note we have to pay Danny Elfman.
So, yeah, we don't get the intro, but, like, the episodes are still really uneconomical. It just, especially in this one, which, was it 3.5 minutes for that ending song?
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
something
gonna
like that.
assume it wasn't that long. It just felt like it, but at least 2.5.
Yeah.
Another little travel anecdote, because I've been to at least 2 places. I saw Belle and
Cooter Beach
Sebastian.
and-
Missed 2 places over here.
I saw Belle and Sebastian live in a really weird scenario, which was like a 3-person show. They were the headliners, and their 2 supports were Tune Yards and Caribou. So it was a weird lineup, and this was in Taiwan. And yeah.
Okay.
And so like Caribou, fucking incredible. Tune Yards, fucking incredible. Jesus Christ, Belle and Sebastian was so incredibly boring.
Yeah,
like
right.
that most of the people who came to that show to see Belle and Sebastian and Pam, who like was telling me, "Oh, Belle and Sebastian, I enjoy them from when I was young." Pam, my wife, for people who don't know me personally, she was like, "Oh, they'll be great." They were not great. they were incredibly long and drawn out and not very entertaining, much like
The outro to this episode. Are there any Belle and Sebastian fans in the house? I haven't really dug too deeply into them in the past. No.
Not at all. Was that a direct parody of a
It
It was
real
pretty
song?
representative.
that was my
of-
next
yeah.
question.
It was pretty representative
I'm
of
just
them.
a little bit lost because Bella's from Beauty and the Beast and Sebastian's from
Nope.
Little Mermaid. I have no idea what's going on.
Belle and Sebastian are characters from a famous French children's book. One of them's a
Okay.
dog.
Now we're in France. God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most I know about
I've
Belle.
also been there.
That also
3
sounds-
places, Dave, they call me.
Yeah, you forgot to intro him correctly.
Yeah. 3 places Molloy, yeah. Yeah, the most I interacted with Belle and Sebastian is in High Fidelity, where a very enthusiastic
sure.
Jack Black turns them off in favor of Walking on Sunshine.
I also just remember we're supposed to call him the Horrespondent. We came
Oh,
on
yeah.
last
Yeah.
time. It's a good title.
I did quite like that. Yeah, I need
Yeah.
a badge of that.
It was a significant improvement from the title we had previous to that, which I can't remember why we called you it. We called you Noted Pervert David Molloy. And I don't remember why.
and you
but
don't
it was
remember
funny.
why.
Pretty clear. All right, let's dissect this thing. BT, we'll start with you. For better or worse, what's a moment that stands out to you?
Oh boy. Look, it was gonna be The Fringe, because I think we got a
It
pretty
still can be.
no, it must not be. Like, we've riffed on it. Let's rip this band-aid off that Belle and Sebastian song at the end, which, forget about what you think about the band. It just recaps the episode you just saw twice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
keeps going and going.
Why?
And, like, we can only assume they were like,
Wiped.
so look, a producer or their spouse or something obviously loves the band. Like, oh, why don't you write a song? And so they did. But
Very,
then
very clearly, Nastuk, who directed this and wanted his extra credit on the
Which,
music
fine.
video at the end.
But then why is it not played over the credits for at least free up some time? Like, it's
Yeah.
baffling like that.
No, because, yeah, we get full credits. You know, sometimes in the new era, we get, like, extra scene with credits running underneath. That's fine. And, yeah, why wasn't it that? Because, yeah, this was, like, if that's all it was, if it was a credit song, yeah, cute little montage song, bit repetitive, but also, like, it's showing a mixture of, like,
Yeah,
clips from the
clips.
episode and really old clips, which
Yeah.
you have that weird jumping between
shift the
16
aspect
and
ratio.
4.3, yeah.
I wonder if that's symptomatic of maybe this sort of like, sort of post-Marvel boom kind of expectation of a way that you play with the credits as
And who
form.
knows?
Like, is that...
But there's also new things that weren't in the episode of, still images of Marge and Homer fucking on various golf courses.
true, yeah.
If that's your fetish, guys.
But I will
we
say,
found
like,
it.
and Nathan, I think you can back me up on this because I'm pretty sure we've both seen it. Did it remind you of a film you saw recently? Yeah.
I did think about bad credits.
Did it give you a bit of a Furiosa vibe?
Do they also do a montage song
They
recapping the
do.
plot
They-
twice?
They show you like, and this is not spoilers because it is like it's well and truly known that Furiosa is a prequel. They show you during the credits of Furiosa a bunch of clips of Fury Road, the better movie that you could have been watching the whole time.
Even like, I mean, I agree that it's better, but even if you didn't agree, like, it's a bigger budget movie, so
Sure,
the clips
yeah.
just look bigger and
Exactly,
better, and
yeah.
you're like, why are you showing me this? I was
is
on board.
weird.
You didn't have to be like.
It's like, don't you get it? This leads to this.
I did get it.
Oh, okay. Well, time wasted.
Yeah, that's what The Godfather 2 needed. Clips of The Godfather 1 during the credits.
Yeah, just cut to and do the same trick they did in this of like playing the same clip backwards and forwards of him just putting the
Yeah.
orange thing in his mouth going.
But yeah, it was just this weird thing where there were just like some tenuously related clips to the lyrics going on. Like
Yeah.
they'd said something about the internet and Marge is on a computer or something.
Yeah, from
like
when
that.
she's writing her book.
Oh, right.
Diatribe of a Housewife, I think is that episode.
Yeah, it's just a thoroughly odd
Yeah,
choice.
it's just baffling. I don't know why it's
Yeah.
there. Oh,
Um,
no, sorry. I know why it's there. I don't know why it's so long.
I did write like it's one of my biggest notes is just the word long. It's
That's it.
underlined a few times.
I wrote the word "why" with 1, 2, 3, 4, like a lot of H's, a lot of why.
yeah, mine goes, why these clips? Okay, and please, it's still going. Full recap? Yeah, full recap.
Twice.
Oh, full recap again. Just saw this. Yeah. How about you, David? What stands out for you for this episode, for better or worse?
Gosh, I did have a lot of notes actually, and I think once again that does end up being the standout thing of like with the pacing and the delivery of having this episode where, you know, the four of us, like friends who've watched this kind of comic stuff before, we've been to a bunch of movies together, we kind of, you know, feel each other's rhythms out in the same rough way. And there were so many times in this episode where they would throw out a punchline and all you would hear was pen on paper, just people making notes going, yes, I will comment on how bad this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be terrible when you deliver a joke and all you can hear is the click of pens.
Yeah,
Let me get old red.
There was a very bizarre sort of like cold open with this like after school special view on what nicotine does to the human body, which was, it was like, why aren't all of these children just like kind of relaxed or you know, at least hungering for cigarettes, and then instead of like all acting like they've had six Red Bulls like most kids these days have. I'm a parent now. So
I did write down, why is nicotine treating them like meth?
Yeah. Because, so to avoid dancing with the girls, Bart gets a bunch of Band-Aids from the nurse's office, and it turns out they're nicotine patches, and then which makes all the kids go red-eyed, like they're red pupils now, and just absolutely tearing down everything.
It's a really, like, convoluted open. And that would be okay if any of it was funny. You're like, it's non sequiturs work when they're funny, but if they're not funny and they're not connected, you're like, why are we doing any of this?
Yeah. No, it went from like the sensation, like, oh, I remember being that age and being awkward around girls. Oh, what relatable material they're coming out with. Like that time I got nicotine patches all over myself.
My
as
note
a
was
kid.
just, why did we have that social dancing in school? What was it's not like we have barn dances anymore.
Remember that time I smoked my first cigarette and headbutted a flagpole down?
Do I?
Because then they kind of call back to it in the wedding when one of Bart's roles is to lead the dance, but there's no payoff.
No.
Yeah,
Other than
there's
just
one
echoing
image in the song, I think, and that's it.
Oh, well, it was
that
in the
he
song.
does go and lead the dance, and oh wow, okay, so we've seen character growth in one still
in a JPEG, yeah.
a real high quality glossy JPEG though, it must be said.
But I mean, I did nicotine patches one time before when I was trying to quit smoking, and it gave me nightmares. But never fucking. Like, really vivid fucking fucked up nightmares. It was like, I was on them for a day and I was like, nope, not doing that. I heard that was a potential side effect, but...
Weird.
Yeah.
Don't care for that.
Yeah. No, turns out cold turkey's just the best way.
Try to quit smoking, you become H.P. Lovecraft and just dream out the most horrific shit.
I think on that point as well, there were a couple of jokes that I wrote down. It's like, these could have been funny if they'd been given a little breathing room. There were so many instances. There was I think the first image in the episode after we've breezed past the couch gag was a joke about winning the spelling bee, and it was a horribly misspelled, board that they had up at the front of the school. But there were so many times where there were these like written gags that needed a bit of time to process what was on. And it's like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, maybe I'm just an old fuck and I'm taking too long to read it. But I genuinely think even with like, a generation of people who are used to faster moving images, you can't process that gag.
Yeah, I think it's entirely because they know you can rewind now.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
But it feels like a no confidence thing. Like,
they've had
where it's just like, hey, this joke can stand on its own for a second, but you got to keep moving and do other things. Like
the better ones we've had in season 35 are the ones that have that confidence. A lot of them, especially in like the late 20s era, I think really drilled home. Do you get it? Do you get it? Like, yes, I got it. Shut the fuck up.
As well, like I think the classic Simpsons thing that I put to it is like, you have the message board and you'll have a big Danny Elfman you'll have a music cue going under it, because that's the thing that keeps it sort of lively while they're letting the gag land. But there was a whole thing about the sequence of events at the wedding that was written down, and I think the only thing that I got in passing very quickly was kilt fitting. And it's like, they're expecting us to pause this episode and go back and look at their very funny joke. And like, given the caliber of the rest of their jokes, I'm not going to do that.
Forgive me, but I don't think there was like gold hidden in there.
But it's almost like with the the fringe board that Lisa first see, where you're just presented with a wall of text, and like I don't even bother looking at
I
any
saw
of them.
Eddie Izzard and something about Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
I wrote down a few of these, which I'm going to look for in my notes now while you continue to talk.
Well, we'll throw it over to Nathan. What stands out to you from this one, for better or worse?
It would have been nice to pick a positive one, but I really feel
I do give you the option.
Yeah, I know. Marge's arc was just really
Trash.
mean, and
Yeah.
like when she made the speech at the wedding, it was just like, oh, this is a really like this doesn't feel like it's coming from a sincere place.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know there's lots of episodes where Marge just kind of gets shat on for, and is
Yeah.
really unlucky, but like, there's usually something that keeps that light.
Oh, look, when the scene started and Marge was wine drunk, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I love a bit of wine drunk Marge.
You know what? And this only just occurred to me. It's because like it wasn't motivated by anything in this episode. Like
Yeah.
he didn't like he had a big, extended rant where he was a bit annoying, but he didn't like, transgress against her in some way that justified that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's this whole thing where Marge and Homer get invited to a destination wedding, and immediately Homer launches into a big spiel against them,
But it
which...
it goes. Sorry, well, I should let you finish before I can, interrupt. But,
Well, yeah, I'm
But
almost
Marge
done.
had the best wedding speech of all time. Of all time.
It's just doing the thing where it's Homer's long rant,
Yeah.
and they're doing it through several different scenes to show you
Oh, yeah.
how long it's going on. But
including them, getting it on.
yeah,
Quite a lot.
We all just went, oh.
well, because they had the detail. We're all familiar with the, in the dark, and all
Yeah.
you see is their eyes thing. But Homer was just moving back and forth just a little.
I
and you're
did,
like,
and
I know that motion.
My
My move.
It's still my bit.
That's the motion of the ocean. I know that. Yeah. No, it's like my exact note there was sex gag good.
But yeah, even like that monologue, it was just really long, not
Yeah.
funny.
Well, and
Yeah.
it was too drawn from someone's experiences. Why
Yeah.
it feels like someone in the
Yeah.
writers' room.
It
whereas
didn't feel like Homer. It felt
Yeah.
like a writer's
Yeah.
tight five on
The
destination weddings.
The legitimate riff on why destination weddings are a problem is you have to go there, it's expensive, and you can't go home easily, but it's usually because they're weeding out the numbers anyway, so
Yeah.
they're inviting people they know aren't going to be able to make it. So it's like a half invite at best. And it's that long. That's how long the rant should be.
Yeah. And yeah, just on a technical level, it's one of these things that just bugs me is like, yeah, it's doing at different scenes at different times of the day, but Homer's rant is all flowing on perfectly from each other. Like, it's,
Yeah, it's a done thing, but yeah.
I've
I feel like
also
it's been done better, right?
Yeah.
100%. I've also I have a writers group I go to. We did this exercise where we were one group had to write a dialogue scene, and then the next group had to change that scene with big print, with action. And so my group, we did essentially a version of that gag where they're having the same conversation, but it's going over many different locations. I think it's kind of a Wes Anderson associated bit now. And there was one person in my group that's like, I fucking hate that. But time would have passed. It's like, yes, that's the
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, I've done it in real life where I was with our friend Sheridan. We were walking to the pub and I was getting to the end of my story and I just stopped. And she's like, what? I'm like, I'm not going to say it when we get to the pub. It'll be better. It'll be better in the edit.
To jump back slightly, so the ones that I wrote down from the names board at the Fringe
yes.
were Hamlet with real dogs, which did feel quite appropriate.
I've been saying people should do that for years.
Yeah, it does feel like a very Wollongong Uni kind of version of
It's
that.
like you get the actors off stage doing all the dialogue, throw some dogs on the stage. Everyone has an amazing time.
Who doesn't love dogs? Yeah.
There was Kunk on parodies, which I didn't mind, just for the name drop of, again, a funnier person, Philomena Kunk.
Again, check out that series. I think it's on Netflix or whatever. Yeah, very good.
And probably the better gag there was, in inverted commas, the play that goes wrong, out of commas, goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's good. I'll pay that.
It's good, yeah.
Well, I mean, just while we're there anyway, I think Lisa's brief foray into Edinburgh Fringe got the biggest laughs out of us for the whole
definitely.
thing.
Walks up
It's
to
so
the-
clever without being good.
and he's
Don't
like-
tell on yourself episode.
Yeah.
You weren't clever though.
But it's also not clever.
But yeah, even the opening riff with the ticket booth guys, like, oh, I'm not the ticket booth. I'm the one-man show, the ticket booth. If you want ticket booth tickets to the
Yeah.
ticket booth, you have to go to the ticket booth. It's like,
That feels so right.
yeah, it really does. And then what else does she go to see? Three tall men eating cereal.
Yep.
I did
5 stars.
yeah. I did go see a show that was like literally someone piecing together stories from the receipts from their tax return. And it was, and I hate to say this, fucking brilliant.
Wasn't that Daniel Kitson's? No.
Yeah, started off that way, but then launched it into a script, and then was a 2-hour long monologue that was incredible in the end.
Yep.
As he does.
Oh, how can they do this?
I know. Oh, yeah.
You can't keep getting away with
The
it.
fourth wall as well was one of the ones you
yeah.
saw. The fourth wall was just there, blocking the view.
It felt like there was if you had maybe trimmed some of the monologues from this episode,
Yes.
there was space for Lisa to actually have some kind of arc or journey with this. Like, it made me immediately think of You Only Move Twice, just her sort of wandering around the forest and seeing all these things.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, there's still a shape for you to kind of, I don't know, like become disillusioned with something or help make something happen.
And that episode does that so cleanly for every member of the family.
Yeah.
And, I mean, does Maggie even exist at this point? Like, is there a Maggie?
We were just having this discussion last episode where it's like, Santa's little helper, Snowball, and Maggie sort of exist in this place where they're only sometimes characters.
I have a... Sorry,
I was going to say the producer's official stance on this. Shh.
Yeah.
I have a theory here, and it kind of like ties together some of the different more recent episodes that I've seen with you guys, and it's that only one member of the cast has full Stockholm syndrome, and it's Dan Castellaneta, because he is like maybe 50 to 60% of most of these episodes.
Yeah, right. Well, he's Willie in this one as well. And and that ties into, what stood out to me was, the relationship between Willie and Bart, where they get all like a bit men's rights activist-y together.
A little bit.
Yeah, men don't let men down. I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
Men don't let men do.
So, the story set up like, Bart gets in trouble for the whole nicotine patch incident and gets sent to super maximum security detention, which is hanging out with Willie, which, look, fine. Like you were saying before, Nathan, it's just such a rush job of bringing them together as friends, which is a relationship that I buy. Like,
I could get on. Like, surely Bart would kind of enjoy the idea of working with tractors and machinery, and
that's it. There's fun to be had in the groundskeeping job.
When you're a kid who would throw a dead rat into the girls' bathroom, the guy who shovels dead rats, is probably a hero.
Yeah, they've come up against each other in the past, but if you're going to make them friends, like, I buy it. And,
I could believe a kinship, though.
Yeah, but it's just done over this montage, and then all of a sudden Willie's kidnapped in Edinburgh, and that, like, sets off the rest of the episode, which, again, talking about the economy of the writing here just feels so way too heavily weighted in existing in the wedding in Edinburgh.
And it also, I guess, in that tangential sense of, taking a side character and building an episode around them, like, the only link at all is that Willie is Scottish, and it could have as well been Bumblebee Man.
Sure. Well, at least it went better than My Fair Laddie, My Fair Lady parody with Groundskeeper Willie in the lead role. Have you guys seen this episode?
No.
Not.
It is from season 17.
Great. A season I will happily skip.
It also has a song.
18 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ushered at the Capitol Theatre for about 6 months, and part of that was, I think, a 2-month season of My Fair Lady. So
You are familiar.
That's a hard pass.
yeah. might be a
But
little
there's
bit
parody
triggering.
lyrics, and it's about being Scottish.
Scottish.
How was the wackiness in this episode? Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
The wackiness that he did actually have a true love in Scotland, where I'm sorry, like if Groundskeeper Willie of all people, but really anyone like Scottish tells you that they have a true love that they miss from Scotland that they haven't seen in a long time and they pine after, it's heroin. I'm sorry, it's heroin.
Biscuits. We're calling it biscuits on this
Biscuit
podcast.
Factory.
Thank you very much.
There was during the bonding, I guess, when Willie was just kind of tossing cinder blocks around,
Is
and
that
they
a
were
caber toss
Yeah,
bit?
caber
he
toss.
did
Caber
caber
toss.
toss,
I
and then
only
he threw
just-
some blocks, and they formed a chair, and it's like
Yeah.
that's kind of funny.
All right.
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't call attention to it, which I appreciate, but Willie's best man was just a rake.
Oh, yeah,
that was
nice.
good, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be his best friend Bart. Again.
Yeah. The passing joke, oh, you really wet the mogwai this
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That was good. That's a
one.
good joke.
That's good.
That popped the whole room, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great line there. Yeah, I didn't mind the apology haggis. So yeah,
That's good. Yep. Oh, out of the three of us, who has eaten haggis?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, the vegetarian in the room said no.
Yeah, there's not a big market for impossible haggis.
No, please do that. Oh, God, I want to see that so bad. But yeah, thoughts?
Oh, it's good.
It's really nice,
It's
isn't
basically
it?
like a spicy-ish kind of sausage, and you get neeps and tatties with
That's
it.
it. It's just like a peppery sausage, and that's literally it. But like, this is also on the same platter because I had many Scottish breakfasts, and like, this is on the same platter that you also have blood pudding, like, which I think is far worse.
That's going to be my note of whack, is there's a scene where Homer gets pizza delivered to the wedding. Food in Scotland was built for Homer because it is a lot of street food and a lot of deep fried. He should have been elbow deep into a deep fried Mars bar.
How dare they not reference a deep fried Mars bar? That is one of those things where it was like, they talk about a deep fried Mars bar as being one of those things where it's like, you're only going to try this once and you're only going to have one and you probably won't finish it.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker ordered a second.
Wow.
It was
like
good.
the 6 months I lived there, Subway was the healthiest thing I ate.
Yeah. And even that was deep fried.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
But again, it's like missed opportunity. Like, why isn't Homer like Homer doesn't want to be at the wedding or do the wedding things? Let him do some Scottish things.
Totally.
And, like,
Hit the
Or
whiskey.
like you just said, let Lisa fill that role.
yeah.
Yeah, no, because it's a weird thing because, like, with a lot of Simpsons travel episodes, we come up to okay, they just thought about a destination and got out the whiteboard and wrote a list of things about that place. This one, like, I'm glad that they didn't do that, but also, like, we just needed a bit more, I don't know, something to flesh out the story
Yeah,
a bit.
I feel like they have been to a Fringe festival, but not Edinburgh.
Yeah, right.
Because there's very little of the actual like town. I think when they did the Seven Hills of Edinburgh or whatever, the gag being that it sounds like Seven Hells. Like there was one recognizable landmark. I went, oh, I know that, but that was it. Like there was nothing else of Edinburgh as place in that.
And when Homer was like, they will not take our free time as the Braveheart thing, you're like, oh, we're gonna have like it. Nope, we're just all right. We're
That
moving on.
clunked so fucking
Yeah,
hard.
it was not great. But it's like, in a different show, Parks and Recreation, when they go to the UK and
Ron Swanson goes to Lagavulin Distillery.
and reads the Rabbie Burns poem
So
on the
beautiful.
cliff.
Ah.
And like you have like this moment of like place and culture or whatever.
yeah.
If Lisa could have had a moment like that, and it would have been like really beautiful. But
And that makes so much sense for Lisa to know who
Yeah.
Robbie Burns is.
Yeah.
Like,
Or even like Sir Walter Scott, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a whole monument to him.
yeah. Or even the fucking dog. The little statue of a dog they have. That's like the most famous statue of a dog.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Alfred
we've got the
Got the
dog.
guy.
Yeah, we've got the dog on the Tucker box, man. And,
That's true.
Yeah.
The thing that's from where the
Sorry,
place
this-
I'm from is better.
The second most famous dog.
That's right.
Sorry, what's their dog?
I can't even remember his name, but it's one of those little Scottish terriers, but it's like a super famous statue of a dog that everyone comes and visits and pats the little statue.
Cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah.
But like, or the one that they push on all of the sort of walking tours of like, here's the cafe where this famous transphobe wrote an OK Wizard book. That kind of stuff. There's just no sense of the place in there at all.
Which is surprising because it's unlike, times Simpsons have gone to like Africa most famously, where they've traveled vast distances very, very quickly. It's one city.
Yeah.
And it's a very walkable city.
Very
so-
walkable, yeah. And like very recognizable to the point where like, there was that one recognizable landmark, but there could have
Yeah.
been so many more. Like the Royal Mile looked kind of like the Royal Mile. There was
bit.
cobblestones or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like there's a lot that they could have, I guess, in the episode that we saw, they could have discerned from like, Google Street View.
Yeah.
Like there's no experience of the place at all.
Fully.
Even to the point where everyone who says Cannae says it incredibly fucking wrong.
Well, yeah, you pointed this out as we were coming out from the episode. So yeah, let's go through some of the guest stars of this episode because you were like, man, I really want to hear a Scottish accent right about now. But we did have some Scots there, so maybe I don't know. Karen Gillian was playing Maisie, Willie's squeeze in this one.
Yep.
Is she Scottish?
Yes, and definitely like the most believable accent in the
Yeah,
episode.
she was
for
definitely
sure.
cranking it up for the character. So
Scrooge McDuck himself, David Tennant, was playing the father of the
shit.
family. Yeah.
That's massively underused. Like he is an incredible vocal performer. Like
Yep, and paying one of the brothers and also the ticket booth actor was Paul Higgins of The Thick of It. I haven't seen that show.
Heard of
Oh,
that name.
man.
Who is he in The Thick of It?
I'm not sure.
You would not
I'll
know.
get a picture.
Oh, Jamie, maybe.
Think of it, fans start yelling out.
I know.
Yeah, that's
I hear-
me, though.
I
Wow.
hear the think of it. I mean, even we had this with like Parks and Rec, because like you remembered that so specifically. Whereas I hear the words "the thick of it," all I hear is "I will not eat the pissy biscuit," like nothing else.
I'm getting a lot of Paul Higgins that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
There's
really-
a photo of a horse there in that Google search.
Oh, the horse!
of course.
Sorry.
From season 2.
Paul, yeah, of course.
Please, Wikipedia, have a picture. No!
Oh,
Does it
God.
say who he is?
He's a phantom.
Tell us more about his early life.
Filmography.
So sorry. What a huge derailment.
Jamie, yeah.
Oh, okay.
TV series,
called
3
it.
episodes.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
so it's a British one, so that accounts for half of the series.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
in.
He's in half of it. He's great too.
All
That
right.
is a great show that you should watch, Elliot. It's
Oh
very
my god,
funny.
it's one of probably top 3 show for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
right.
right.
What is it?
But
Sorry?
Did you know Veep?
Yeah.
It's the show he made before Veep. It's in the UK,
Alright.
so
Oh,
it's
right.
similar in a lot of ways. I want to say harsher.
Is that the one where
Yes.
Peter Capaldi just swears all
That's
the time?
exactly the
Hey,
one.
Gotta hear
I'm-
Doctor Who call people fuckers.
Yeah, a mutual. Oh, so much worse than that. A
I haven't
mutual.
seen it, so I had to guess.
A mutual friend of ours started watching the show and was like, "How can you stand these people like bullying for so long?" It's like, well, all of these people, and I don't say this lightly, all deserve it.
They got a swearing consultant in for the script because the first draft was like, this is good, but we're just saying fuck all the time. Can we
Yeah,
get someone
we
in
need
to
to vary
color
it
it up a bit?
Yeah.
It's good.
You fuck.
Well, yeah,
Talking
tying
about being fucked with a lubricated horse cock. Like, it's like it's
Well, at least it's lubricated.
insane. Like,
Well, look, tying into the the characters and the location and everything else. Like, how was the heart in this episode? Groundskeeper Willie. Maisie was lost love. He was working for their family as the peat sniffer in a
Yeah.
bog.
Yep.
But then they got rid of him. They set off a ploy to break them up, and
Yep.
so he's returned to rekindle the romance. How did that all play out for y'all?
Yeah, whatever. The most important, the most biggest moment of heart I had was when, Bart's feeling all betrayed by his new best friend, Willie, and Lisa has a moment where I'm like, look at your friend. Have you ever seen him so happy? And he's like, and that's kind of what turns him around. I like that as a moment. It's like, yeah, if you actually care about your friends, you'll want them to be happy, even if it feels like they're leaving you.
which does also feel like the kind of, I guess the standard beat in that kind of like male coming of age, like learning to understand that your friends are going to have romantic relationships that don't involve you, and that's fine and good. Like,
Yeah.
But again, they didn't invest in the friendship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that and they also didn't invest in the moment of of Bart having that understanding. That was there, and they
Yeah.
really just
Well, they said the
took
words,
the long way
but
around
we
it.
didn't get to hover there
Yeah.
long enough.
they also
Could have
didn't.
been good.
They also didn't invest in the woman in that relationship until it was a punchline at the end. So
I mean, it was more of a headbutt.
yeah, which was again
like-
to quote my notes, headbutt gag good.
Yeah, I feel like because it's the famous Glasgow kiss.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I didn't even
Willie's
think of that.
Yeah.
So wrong city, but
I know. Well, I've heard it referred to as the Edinburgh kiss as well, but it's mostly Glasgow.
it's not. It's Glasgow.
Yeah. I think Glaswegians
The
call it
Edinburgh, the Edinburgh kiss is the deep fried Mars bar.
It's getting a flyer. So she's at the altar. Won't you believe me, Willie? And that
Yeah.
moment's like, oh, I need you to prove it. And gives him the
Yeah,
Glasgow
and look,
kiss.
I even
and
like
that was-
the idea that it's breaking his nose, so then he can't smell the peat anymore,
Yes.
which is, that's good. I did not like the amount of blood. That's Simpsons and blood have never had an odd relationship.
It was
and
strange.
Well, the coloring looked
it was very
weird because Willie's
magenta.
like red haired anyway. So it looked really purple.
I agree on the color, but as the correspondent, I like the blood, and genuinely because it did kind of it breaks up the normalcy of the episode, and so for episodes that aren't Treehouse of Horror to have a moment where there is some bloodshed, does actually shake things up a bit, and I thought that was done sort of appropriately, dare I say tastefully.
I still feel it was a lot, because even the episode where Homer gets his thumb cut off, it just spurts a bit, and it's not gushing down his nose.
with a horribly disfigured schnoz on Willie.
Yeah,
very.
But again, that she gives him 5 more headbutts as it zooms out. I actually enjoyed that moment.
I did too, yeah.
But talking about not existing in moments, man, reveal of it was all a trick to get him back to work for them really didn't do anything for me, especially that Bart overhears the conversation and then it's of no consequence. It's just like, yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, let's go to the wedding.
Yeah.
It's just like that's an existing trope. And so I guess at the base level, play into it. Bart overhears it. He tries to tell Willie, Willie's like, you're jealous that I'm doing whatever. I don't want to talk to you or whatever. That escalates. Like, put the beats in and then mess it up. Don't just...
If they had the time, but...
If only.
I think maybe the weakest part of that trope as well is the why would you do such a thing to the conspirators? And then the conspirators being like, well, here's our conspiracy, lad. I don't understand what that's meant to achieve in terms of narrative propulsion,
Them not trapping Bart or prisoning him or anything to stop the secret from getting out. They're just
have you ever had a sinister plan before? God, it's fun to reveal.
Because, Bart, I don't know if you guys know this, bit of a notorious troublemaker.
Yeah.
You think he'd be better at getting the fuck away with it.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing of him being stuck and then going through the gift bags and looping together all the eye masks.
I was about to say, that felt like an absolute... Because the second he pulled out an eye mask, I'm like, it's going to be a slingshot. Of course, he's going to write down what's really going on and launch it at Willie. He's a slingshot-owning boy. I'm like, oh, no, he just climbed down a rope with him.
It's like they were like, and he gets stuck in a room with all the gift bags. That will be funny. And
you know what?
Actually figure out how it could be.
Have you heard the whole anecdote about Breaking Bad? That one of the things that they used to do in the writers' room in Breaking Bad was they would intentionally write themselves into corners. So they would just be like, okay, they're in a fucked up situation. I have no idea how they're going to get out of this. And then the next week they're like, great, how do they get out of this?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe the writers' room did that and went,
we all just remembered we don't write for Breaking Bad.
oh, this is hard, guys.
How did they
Are
do
we not
that?
as good as we think we
We were like, oh my god, they only did 6 seasons? We're better than that. Fuck, we're not. But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? These are characters we know and love. Is this the show we know and love?
Like a season 15 episode, sure.
It's back.
the things I didn't like about it felt familiar. It wasn't breaking new terrible ground. It was just...
It was the bad we know and love.
Yeah, look, I mean, the characters sort of mostly... we got the Julie Kavner in the room as well, man. She was just...
The poor wee lass. Let her go. Let her go.
At this point, I'm thinking it's either one or two things. Either this is the natural deterioration of her voice and it doesn't hurt as much as it sounds like, or she just has a spittoon of blood in that recording studio. And
It's...
Just like Brian Johnson.
It sounds like she is in the most long-form Saw trap.
Wow. Hello, Julie. I want to play a game.
It's going to take 36 seasons.
Saw 15 starring Julie Kavner coming eventually. Yeah, I don't know. The characters, I don't think it's the worst
actually,
part of this episode.
Biggest, well, not integrity break, but Skinner, man. Ooh.
Yeah.
You think Kavner sounds bad? Skinner sounds so
Yeah. I was going to say his voice is it a new actor or is it?
Nah, it's just age, man.
It's just changed so dramatically. Yeah.
That's the one I think that has really been affected, other than Marge, the most. It's very noticeable.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because it doesn't seem like a really weird voice that would be hard to keep doing. But
yeah, for sure.
Well, Harry Shearer, we've sort of commented for many years, it sounds like he's just not giving a fuck with his performances. But yeah,
at least he still sounds like the character, though. But yeah,
especially in the last few years, like especially Mr. Burns sounds
which
old,
is also
which is a
really
weird comment to make on Mr. Burns, but trust me, it sounds weird.
But no, there was always...
He sounds like old, not funny old.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there was always a kind of zeal to Mr. Burns that made him fun, and now there's not anymore because it just isn't in the voice.
He sounded like a little Rory Calhoun.
Standing on your hind legs.
But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
No.
You could do worse.
You sure could.
Yeah.
BT, but how could you do better? What would you like to change about this thing?
Look, I think we've covered it. I think spend longer, with Bart and Willie. It's not that I don't understand the appeal of their friendship. It's that we just don't dwell there long enough. And cut the Bell and Sebastian song, you free up at least 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just economy of storytelling. There's not a whole lot of extra fat. You definitely trim seconds here and there, but yeah, that's just minutes of wasted time.
How about you, Malone? What would you like to change?
Please stop talking about TikTok. Like, please just like never mention it again. Don't use smartphones. I know that you're trying to like move with the times, but please stop. I think that goes for a lot of these gags where they kind of announce the trap that they're about to fall into and then belly flop into the trap. I think of that particularly with the slideshow at the beginning of the wedding where they're like, oh, we're doing a slideshow, and everyone's like, oh, God. And then they're going to sit through the slide. Like, don't announce that this gag is going to be insufferable and then do the gag without it being funny but just taking up time. Like, I just feel like they're trying to use self-awareness as a means to, like, I guess, like, get away with shitty joke telling. Like, they try to act like, yeah, we know it's a shitty joke, but we're still telling it, and as if that makes it funny. And, like, again, I have seen Stuart Lee, like, tank his own set for 5 minutes, and it'd be hysterically funny, and these people are not doing that.
Nah. How about you, Nathan? What would you like to change?
I think just rebalancing, like you said, more building the friendship. I think just redo the Marge and Homer plot. Just make it like Marge doesn't want Homer to be embarrassing at the wedding. He surprises her and does something nice at the end, and that's lovely. Let Lisa have some kind of journey that maybe then helps Bart understand the thing and actually connect a few, and and lose the song.
Even you've got that nice on ramp of like Marge being the one who embarrasses them at the wedding. Like there's
there you go. Yeah, and Homer can be like, you did it this time. And she'll be like, ha ha ha.
I got a
and
pitch.
You've got a gambling problem.
So to tie Lisa into things, how about she comes back from Fringe and she's telling Bart about all these shows, like, wow, they sound like they really suck. And she's like, yeah, they do. And he's like, why did you go if these things are boring? She's like, because I love the arts and I'm going to support them. If you love something, you support it no matter what.
He's bloody done it.
Oh, BT.
So,
that's good. Yeah, that's great. And also, like we said, do the like weird conspiracy, like actually let that play out a bit. Have Bart, be trying to work against them somehow, and that's good. That's a good fix.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And so easy.
Yeah. Again, an hour of troubleshooting. Like,
took one mildly drunk Australian man.
I think as well, like maybe the big thing that I would change about this episode and also like all recent Simpsons is, again, to quote the episode itself, they shouldn't be together, but they are. That's not funny anymore, guys.
no, look, I'll give it this because the thing that, like, again, just on your point, Nathan, about like Homer and Marge's thing here, you just need to make it like as simple as, yeah, they're just spending another night doom scrolling. They just need a refresh or something just to perk up the relationship. It just, this contention, like, it's tedious.
I got a fix for that as well.
Hey! Thank you, because I really didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Because, look, they're at the wedding. Marge gets the text from Homer, and it's another kooky animal video, and she watches it. And then in the episode, she has the whole, this monkey and a dolphin shouldn't be friends, but they are, blah. What I thought it was going to be is the whole, love is not always hot passion. It is sometimes the person you can share dorky memes with. And this shows Homer is always thinking about you. Every time he sees something funny, he thinks of you. That's the point.
That's nice.
You have a free pass to any writer's room I'm ever in. Like, from now on, like.
I can't say it on pod because we talked about it off pod, but when we write "Peel Your Face Off,"
it's going to have so much heart.
Oh my God. The ba-bumps.
no faces, but lots of heart.
That's the tagline. That's good.
It's time for our final notes.
Face off, not here. Oh yeah, hang on. I thought I was going to come up with a new thing. What's Scottish?
Iron Brew.
Is Belle and Sebastian Scottish? Is that why
it
they
must
were
be,
there?
I guess.
surely.
They're named after a French thing, though. So.
For all the notes that we forgot, let's remember them now. It's a Scottish thing. Look it up.
David, do you have any final notes?
I do. So I also like it.
They are Scottish, sorry. Yep.
Yeah?
Belle and Sebastian.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Sorry.
One of my colleagues at the last place I worked at was Scottish, and like is Scottish. She's still alive, and had told me an anecdote about like one of the things that she would use to shut up a group of children, at least when she was working in Scotland, was the phrase "Hawk your wish." So I was really happy to see that like used in this episode of like Willie saying to her "Hawk your wish." I can't tell you what the individual words in that sentence are. But I love that it's a phrase, and it feels so classically Scottish for that exact reason.
Yep. Hawk your wish?
Hawk your wish. Which is basically shut your face. But I can't tell you what the words are.
Right.
Actually, I've been playing this game lately. Have you guys heard of it? Thank goodness you're here.
Is it based on Thank God You're Here? The
No.
podcast?
Did Tom Walker get it cancelled?
Yeah. No, it's not Scottish, but like Northern English developed game, and it gives you an option at the start, which is it's basically asking if you'd like it in the local language or general English, and it's just this really cute story-driven puzzler. Anyway, I forgot the point that I was going to make.
Is it
like in,
subtitles? Or?
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place in the
Yeah.
Scottish Mist episode where he subtitles the Scotsmen who
look.
aren't very hard to understand.
I will say, I once watched Train Spotting with subtitles on. Completely different movie.
It's a very different
I thought I knew what was going on. It turns out, nope.
Guys, this isn't a comedy.
I think in Garth Marenghi
They're
it's
not
like,
eating biscuits.
you are a true Scotsman, and then the subtitles have in brackets Scottish person.
Was that all your notes, David? Or
I wrote eaten by a sheep, so I guess I
Yep.
found that funny in
Nah.
passing.
Yeah,
That
that
was,
kind of pop.
that was what they told,
Maisie, yeah.
Maisie, what had happened to Willie. Like, they said you
Yeah.
got eaten by a sheep.
Yeah.
I'm actually like quite sad to find out that was Karen Gillan and David Tennant, because it's just
Yeah.
like it's
Wise.
such a massive underuse of two very funny, very talented people.
The whole project is a massive underuse of many talented people.
How about you, Nathan? Any other notes?
In the wedding slideshow that was too long and too fast, there was one shot of
How do you do that?
right?
They found a way.
Oh, there have been times.
Of Willie sad on the cruise ship, and there were people in the pool, and he was on the edge of the pool, and the pool was nearly knee depth, which was just very funny. I thought there's just like a lot of people in there. But also in the destination wedding monologue, he mentioned Johnny Zipline, and I was like, is that I think you should leave?
Oh, right.
Surely not, but you know,
I
Zipline.
mean, maybe. Given the timing, when did that come out?
Early last year.
Yeah.
Man, you know, I think
How about you, BT?
So when Bart's working for Willie, there's a scene where he's cleaning his mop with a toothbrush. I don't know. I did kind of enjoy
Yeah,
it.
and dunks it back into
And
the
it's like,
frog,
clean it again.
frog lab water or
Frog
something.
lab
There's a
bile,
bit,
yeah.
There's a bit where Willie's talking about, how he got his heart broken and had to come to America, and he has like this, again, a typical Willie thing of what he calls Americans. I can't remember all of it, but it ended with Land of Wrestling Believers.
Yeah.
And as much as I dislike the trope of, wrestling fans all think it's real, because I've never met a single wrestling fan who thinks it's real, I do like the phrase Land of Wrestling Believers.
that's good.
Oh, that's it. We don't think it's real. We just think it's high art.
Yeah, it's beautiful. There's a bit where Bart's looking for Willie. It's like, have you tried the outskirts? Sometimes he's there in a ditch, and there's a sign in the background that has outskirts pointing one way and then
Yeah.
skirts the other way. I'm like, okay.
That at least feels more like old Simpsons kind of
Yeah.
wordplay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they've reunited. They've reconnected over the internet because whatever her name is, Karen Gillan saw Willie on TikTok, and it's like we started sexting right away. I'm like, okay, that's all right.
Yeah, they're doing that. How the love rekindled. He slid into my DMs, and then we started texting right away. It's all these words I never expected to hear in a
my
Simpsons
God.
episode.
Yeah.
Because I'm like Dan Castellaneta sounds like he is pushing 80 when he says the word slid into my DMs. Like,
Look, if it's good enough for Jurassic World 3, making Laura Dern say that, then
oh, I'm so glad I tapped out. Like, I
I
can't.
know. Two is
That's a whole other conversation, but I tapped out so hard.
Jurassic World 2 is peak shit art. It's amazing. But yeah, 3 is boring as hell. And ending on a down note where Homer just yells out, Homer Simpson is vanilla in the sack. Vanilla. It's like,
Bad jokes.
Again, foreshadowing the drag out jokes. Yeah, like I didn't mind when Skinner's talking to Bart and was like, you live streamed my colonoscopy. And he's like, hey, Ralph caught that polyp, didn't he? Like,
It was benign.
Yeah.
Unlike your punishment. It's like, again, that's like on paper not a bad joke, but like enough so that I remember the words, but like the delivery of it, like no one laughed.
no.
Which is traditionally the response to a joke.
Look, again, if a modern Simpsons episode can at least dislodge some snot with like...
that is... This is the thing.
That's better than they've been for a while.
You're coming from the shiny shores of only really having watched classics. We've trudged the shit.
Yeah.
Over 700 episode reviews and counting.
Tell me not!
Oh, Christ. And there's another podcast that is called The Worst Idea of All Time.
Yeah, eat your heart out, Tim and Guy.
Nearly say eat your ass out.
It's a Scottish saying. I'm being cultural. The airline they go is plane spotting.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like, I get it.
I audibly heard all four of us go,
I get it.
And I did like in the wedding ceremony that they called the lady Boozemaker Maisie in the...
Not bad.
They are their career is like Groundskeeper Willie.
Yep.
All right, it's time to rank this thing on the Simpsons Index. We rank using a 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just... You give it a participant. But for the positive rankings, you got, okay, bronze, good, silver, excellent, gold. But for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going first. Let me show you how it's done. Remember in the old days how I used to extend that out because there was a chance you might use one of those rankings? It was almost a bronze, I got to admit, but participant. There's just too much going wrong with this one to balance out the good times in this one for me. BT.
Man, maybe I'm going soft in my old age, or maybe it's because I have seen enough. Because at least it was coherent. And there were a couple of jokes that actually got the whole room, but then there were some massive clunkers and that really inefficient waste of time that's going to bother me. Look, overall, I feel like I've got a sense where the rest of the room is going to go, so I'm going to actually go with a bronze, and so it'll move that overall ranking up a tiny smidge, because look, there were some good jokes.
You've gone full Castellaneta.
What do you reckon,
I
Molloy?
may have been on the biscuits before we got here, I don't know.
It is the kind of thing that also like makes me feel like the last time that I was on this show, I probably gave that episode too much of a free pass. So this has to cop it as a participant, like at absolute best for me.
Hey, not it was fine.
Yeah, it's a participant in that they never said Edinburgh wrong.
And it's a long, difficult word.
And Nathan, please finish it off.
I think we'll go there's good ingredients in there.
Yeah.
Oh, look, not disagreeing at all. If a single person in this room had gone bronze, I would have shifted down.
Yeah, okay, cool. Participant, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that'll equal a shiny participant all around. And looking at season 35, it is equal first with...
Christ.
We've only done 3 other episodes from season 35 so far, but it'll be equal first with Thirst Trap, A Corporate Love Story, which was the episode parodying... Who's that lady?
The Holmes.
Yeah, Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah.
They do a parody of that in Mr. Burns and Her Fall in Love, and it's... Yeah.
It's a participant, in your opinion.
That said, I think I'm quite comfortable with this ranking because I think overall the line really wet the Mogwai alone. That's
That's
where
good.
the shiny participant.
We'll take that.
Like, I think I'll say that at some point.
Yeah,
like,
I
it's a
hope
good
I
line.
remember it.
And I don't know if it's a reach, but it's like one of Scotland's like bigger export bands is
That's true.
Mogwai. Is that kind of the tie-in?
Interesting. That is a deep cut reference.
Isn't
if
it?
that's the
Yeah.
I
case.
doubt it.
Yeah, because when you said that, I was like, is it? Does he think Gremlins is a Scottish film?
Is Gremlins not a Scottish film?
Prove it's
I'd love
not.
to see the Scottish remake.
Because in my experience as a person who's worked in film and theatre, we normally don't call it by the G word. We just call it the Scottish film.
Yeah, the superstition. You know how it goes. Sorry, I want to watch Scottish Gremlins a lot.
I can't wait for the new batch as well. Guys, thank you
got it.
so much for joining us tonight.
Pleasure. Well, it's been nice.
It's been nice hanging out
It's
with
been
you.
really nice hanging out.
Too bad about The Simpsons.
Yeah, didn't like the TV bit. Everything around it was good.
Yeah.
Nathan, have you got anything to plug?
I do, which is wild. Wait, when is this going out?
Thursday.
Oh, well then, yeah. Towards the end of this month, 22nd to 24th of August, I'm doing a theatre show in Wollongong. It's called Birdsong of Tomorrow. It's about birds and thinking about change and loss and all sorts of things like that. I think it'll be pretty nice. So if you're in Wollongong, come and see it. You can find it's at Merrygong Theatre. You can find it on the Merrygong website.
Yeah, put links in the show notes and everything, and it's a pay what you feel show as well.
It is,
isn't it?
which, that's nice, I think.
Yeah. Better value than a lot of Fringe shows.
Unless you feel it's, I don't know, maybe... Yeah.
If you feel like ripping yourself off, though,
You could.
I'm asking you to feel a lot.
How about you, David? Anything to plug?
I mean, like a second for that show because I saw the first iteration of Birdsong of Tomorrow, and so it's a really, really lovely show. So please do go see that. Also,
I'll be checking it out on the 23rd.
Yeah, awesome. Also, please go on Steam and pre-order Copycat, wishlist Copycat because that is coming out in September. I did just have since we last recorded, I had the very great pleasure of playtesting it and seeing how it's all come together, and they've really done a beautiful job. I'm really excited for people to see that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and I've just finished a screenplay, so I guess it's sort of like a deep cut future plug of watch this space.
Go to the cinema soon. Later.
Like within the next 10 years, maybe.
I'll leave a space in the show notes for that future recommendation to go. But BT, what's going on Patreon?
Well, if people don't want to pay what they feel and pay what we should feel, they can go to patreon.com/SideQuest Studios where they can unlock, what are we up to, like 190 exclusive? 180 plus, though. It's surely, I've been saying 180 for a few episodes now. Surely we're getting close to 190.
It takes 10 weeks for that number to change.
Oh, it does too. I haven't thought about time. Right. 180 plus exclusive podcasts. It's a variety of shows you can listen to, except when he's not, the exclusive podcast where Elliot catches me up on the episodes I missed. You can listen to Story of the Chalk, the exclusive podcast where we kind of figure out what's the hidden episode that led to Bart's chalkboard gag, and a kind of flagship exclusive podcast starring Springfield, where as a Patreon perk you get to recommend a movie for us to watch as long as it stars a cast member of The Simpsons. We will then watch that. We will watch anything. We have watched some absolute baffling crap and some absolute gems. It has been the wildest, just variety. It is just the rainbow, and we love it.
Yeah, and starring is very loose. They can have a cameo as long as a Simpsons member is in the cast. You can recommend it, one of your Patreon perks. Any movies come to your guys' minds starring
And
the
we've
cast?
done Godzilla.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yes, actually, because I've been listening to How Did This Get Made, and I do believe there's some Sharknado Simpsons cameos.
What, really?
Yeah, in like at least one of the Sharknado movies, because I've listened to 3 episodes about it, and I've seen one. But I'm pretty sure Yardley Smith is in like one of them. So yeah,
She turns up in the weirdest fucking place.
she feels like the real pull for this show. Hey, like Yardley Smith's like amazing IMDb credits.
Yeah.
Like the other week we watched The Chaperone, which is the Triple H-led film that also stars Ariel Winter and Yardley Smith. Yeah,
and of course Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, classic one of hers.
Of course.
People that can do whatever they want. They're just out there doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Have you not like Elijah Wood doing good stuff?
They do whatever they want. Maybe they want to do bad stuff. I
It
think
might just be fun.
James Brooks directed. Have you seen Broadcast News?
No.
No one's in it, but James Brooks directed it.
Yeah, I think it's come up in
Wait,
conversation.
no one's in
haven't we
it?
seen
No one's
This
in it.
incredible
It's
experimental
just,
film.
It's just empty rooms.
Yeah, was it originally at a Edinburgh Fringe stage production?
That's right. But yeah, I don't know if that counts, if him directing it.
I mean, maybe
that's
if
a
anyone
strong
could put a
uplink.
good enough case, again, the things that we've let through.
It's super good. Oh, no. You know who's in it? Albert
Brooks.
Yeah, the other Brooks. Yeah, he's in it.
James's brother.
Yeah, that's right. He's in it, and he's great. And
Weirdly, not James's brother, but Bob Einstein's brother.
Oh.
Because
I'm so
he
confused.
changed his stage name because he didn't want to be Albert Einstein.
That's quite good. That's his parents should have considered that, really.
Yeah. But what was the James L. Brooks movie we did? As Good as It Gets.
As good as it gets.
Which had the biggest gulf between rankings between BT and I.
Yeah.
We don't
Nice.
we don't always agree.
Who gave it what? Come find out.
Yep. Again, pay what you feel as long as what you feel is limited to $2, $5, or $20. But anyway, all that's at patreon.com/sidequeststudio. New bonus podcast every week. But for now, that's it for the free show. That's it for the Simpsons Index. Once again, thank you very much, Nathan.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, laddie.
Thank you, BT.
Remember to breathe, Elliot. I worry about you sometimes.
And I've been your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, forgetting to breathe, but letting you know that that is all the mustard in the house.
CPR! Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can also check out our other shows, like Pulp Fury Radio, our scripted fiction podcast, which tells all original stories across a range of pulp genres, and Thrones of Game, where we review Game of Thrones in reverse order. Links to those podcasts and more will be available in the show notes. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode, so we'll catch you next week.